Hear me out. You've got deer underneath your TC on this weird and wonderful map. Spears basically cost food. How about we just end this one in the Dark Age? It would definitely fit the script of Core here. So far in this grand finals here on the Scar Guard Invitational, we have seen relentless aggression up against restless defense. Voldemar might finally have a chance to be the aggro player with the Ottomans, though. This is a fun matchup. So, draft-wise, I don't think this is what Voldemar was hoping for. Half of the remaining picks Core had were hard countered by Ottomans. It just didn't play out that way. And that's a boon for Core, right? Like, even if this now goes to Game 4, I think a lot of his draft has been unshackled. There are still some threats, but there's a lot more presence and playability. What I'm curious about is whether we're going to get the Racks. So far, I'm only seeing the military school. The Racks reaction is coming on the other side, so Mongols are going to try to press this. And I'm looking at the gold spawns, and things are a little bit rough for Voldemar. Left side gold, if you outpost block this, it blocks all the food south side. The north side gold has been shoved further away by the stone outcropping. So there are some weak points to his spawn. I wouldn't say this is like one of those, if an outpost goes up, it's GG type games. We rarely get those these days. But it definitely would be a big leg up for the Mongols. Mongols that just got buffed maybe a little bit too hard. The new and improved Deerstone with the Khan Hunters means that this Civ is now capable of out-archering most Civs in the game. And I think Ottomans is one of the more peculiar matchups because while you have more movement speed and range with the Mongols, the Ottomans can get more movement speed and damage. So, a lot of theory crafting on who would win if this turns into a long Dark Age. It's Ottomans. And here's why. Mongols may be able to produce more in the interim of like 10 to 20, right? Because they have the stone. But what matters most is the Vizier point. If you play a giant spear mosh pit, eventually the Ottoman player is going to get the Imam point. And that heal will win them the game. We've seen this actually. If you guys remember, it used to be on Canal, it would happen a lot. You'd have Ottoman versus Mongols. And all the Ottoman player was trying to do was spam spears until he got his healer boys. And then the game was over. So, Core has to be very careful here. And I love this. Straight away, he sees the Racks, he sees the military school, he sees the free spearmen. What does Core do? Does he ego chow this? Does he play like he would in Valorant when he knows someone's got an operator? He turns the corner and gets shot in the face? No. Not today. Core says, I respect it. You've overinvested. I'm now going to go Age 2. Correct call. You just don't want to play this for the Vizier point reason we mentioned. It's funny because in like some ways you can play it quite well. We mentioned the stone production, but also there's the fact that you can afford more wood. So like where it gets interesting is I'd say 10 to 15 Mongols feels good, then 15 to 25 Ottomans feels good in terms of spearman count, and then like past 25 Mongols feels a bit better again because, you know, their opponents have to build lumber camp. But even then, the Imam heal is just too good. So Deerstone on the way. Slightly aggressively placed Deerstone, but he's trying to buff up the gold. Looks like he was hoping that Voldemar wouldn't read what was really happening for a little bit longer. This should force the pack up and the back away, but you need to be very quick with it, because if you mistime it, and Voldemar's paying attention, he can run the Spearman in and grab the Racks. But I don't think he wants to have to pack up, so I think the goal here is he wants to get the Hardened stats and then double produce 2 more Spearmen to win this fight. Deerstone almost complete. Spears are trying to bait him in range. He's not taking the bait though. This kind of feels rough now because, yeah, it's too late to do this. Like, if your opponent's quick, he can just pinch you. And there's the formation shuffle. Voldemar. Oh! Wait, no, the line formation got a little bit intercepted. He does clear the Spearman, but, I mean, that's fine. You protect the Racks. You don't really need to use it now. Like, it kind of in some ways feels better because now you don't have to worry about Hardened. This should just be an immediate transition into Archers. There we go. Free now on the Archer range. Spearmen are going to try to burn this down. Khan did just get his damage buff, so he can kill a bit quicker. Kind of wild that he actually went for a full HP Spearman instead of the injured one, though. In the meantime, Twin Minaret Madrasa now on the way for the Ottomans. So, we mentioned about how if this turns into Archer mass on both sides, actually Mongols does pretty well. They can match up against the Ottomans. One thing we didn't talk about is the Sipahi. Sipahi are really scary. I'd argue that Sipahi are scarier for Archer Mass than Keshiks are. Because of that extra reach, that extra mobility anywhere on the map. Not to mention Fortitude as just the absolute doomsday device to activate when you choose. So I'm wondering if instead we may see the Ottomans just play Spear Archer. You want confirmation though, you don't just want to build Spearmen more for no reason. So he'll have to wait for the stables. Great start here though, like denying the Uvu. Oh, it was 3 seconds too late on the villager pool. Great read there by Voldemar to use the scout to finish that one off. Minimum Tristler is up. Got Deer Gathering about to initiate, now setting up the mill. Has had a few gathering on that. And, okay, that's kind of nutty. I never really even thought about that because I thought we were going to get Spear Spam, but because they had to shirk away from it. Anatolian Hills, guys. On a map where you're so limited with food, the Ottoman pick and its desirability starts to make sense. Because your opponent's going to have to now play out onto flank resources, if you both go cavalry, he's going to be exposed here and here, while you're very happily gathering underneath your TC. Because Voldemar just spawned in 2,000 extra safe food. You heard that correctly. Anatolian Hills recently got buffed because it used to be 8 sheep, but then the amount of food in a sheep got nerfed. So to compensate, they added 2 additional sheep to keep the numbers the same as they once were. And no, there is no fish. The value on this map for water happens in the mid and late game. It's about gold, relics, and sacred sites. No fish. It's a complete flip to what people are used to with water hybrid maps. But I, for one, absolutely adore it because there's no other map like it. So, archery range, racks, and stables, 1-1-1 build. Meanwhile, other side, it is just raw mass archers. A bit dangerous with Sipahi now coming in. In fact, he has just scouted that out. So first Sipahi is going to reveal himself, love the target fire. Doesn't even bother to target the cav. He just heads on by with the extra range of the hunter to get the kill on the villager. I have a feeling we are not going to see Castle Age in this game. Let me put it the correct way, actually. I have a feeling Core's not going to let anyone see Castle Age in this game. Scout. Nice snipe. Ooh. Cool guys. Do not look at explosions. Great grab. It looked like for a second there he was going to survive. That was weird as well because he basically regen just enough. But Khan was able to linger for the extra health. Extra hit rather. So that's going to force a new scout commitment. Still 70 food, right? And what you were risking is free. Sipahi are now starting to show up. And this is a serious threat that needs to be addressed. For now, though, it's just going to be raw archers. Undermesh has already been prepped. We're seeing Steel Arrow now on the way. It's intriguing we're not seeing more Spearmen coming out. And the wilder part is that we've still got Spearmen being produced for Voldemar, even though he's up against mass archers. So he's assuming there's a Keshik switch coming. Which is wild, because there's not. I'm impressed, man. Like, you know, Voldemar, it makes sense what he's doing here. He's trying to get ahead of the script. But the dented 1 unit comp is actually going to work the more Voldemar kind of gets in his own head. One thing that's big here, by the way, ranged armor. You've got the undermesh already. You've now got the ranged armor. So the Sipahi have 4 ranged armor. They only take 2 damage each on a unit that has 30 more health than a standard horseman and hits much harder. So like this is still quite feasible for Voldemar, but he needs to inflate Sipahi fast. Khan, in the meantime, just never with the mass. Which is surprising because he's missing out on about 2 extra faster attacks from the attack speed arrow. The reason it's like 2 extra attacks is because the arrows are bugged. It says 5 seconds, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 or 3 seconds. Complete backup's kind of surprising here from Core, but I think he's worried about the Sipahi numbers that are encroaching. It's not going to be a tech choice. I think you just tech here, you kind of die. We've actually seen that, surprisingly enough, Mass Sipahi are one of the more effective tools at countering these fast tech builds. It's one of the examples of why Ottomans are such a great pick against Japanese. Yes, my PC's making annoying noises. Sorry. Can't Hunter though. As long as he keeps that aura in range, it means that the archers can't easily trade out. And another kind of interesting thing here is an outpost. I would love to see a forward outpost coming in from Core, because then he doesn't have to panic about being overextended. He can always just run away. Especially considering I don't believe we have a meta with the movement speed. Yeah? No. He did not go for the movement speed meta point. It's just standard aura. So no extra 10% to make you fast. Now Keshik switch coming in. Double stables as well. So this is a pretty rapid transition out of Core. He noticed that the Sipahi coming early, so he's going to peel away. Tricky one as well. Sipahi, yes, they're the numbers. Sure, they can beat the Keshiks, but in equal numbers, the Keshiks should just be able to sustain off of you. Your attack speed isn't that impressive. Your base damage not that high. It's definitely a winnable fight if you can spot it early. You need to spot it fast. Jason. Yam should be able to protect him for the most. Archer Mass backed entirely up. You know what they say, right? Transitions is one of the most uncomfortable phases of the game. And I love how Core takes that truly to heart. You can tell he did by how far back he walked with his archers. I think there's a lot of other players there that would have tried to hang around and get an edge, right? Snipe one or two villages. Can't. Yeah, in case it wasn't apparent, guys, these lads hit for 24 damage. To put it another way, they free hit archers. They are strong. They are slept on. They are one of the best cavalry units in the game, full stop. Sometimes I feel like they are the best cavalry unit in the game. Start step back here. Turns out range isn't useful if you can't keep it. Surge comes in. Voldemar, he just has so many Sipahi here. Able to shove this away. Causing trouble. He has got the Yam. He can start to step away from this. Fortitude hasn't been activated yet. He's waiting for the moment. In the meantime, a dive comes on the other side. Keshiks raiding now into the economy. There needs to be some return fire. Voldemar now diving onto the gold. Villagers shuffling away. Choke points having to be held, but it's coming at a high price here. It's all falling apart. Core, the archer mass is falling too fast. The Keshik raid was cool. It was cute. But ultimately, it doesn't feel like enough. This on the other side should be, though. A lot of injured Sipahi, but right now, Core in a panic can't target them down. Villagers stop running, so all of a sudden the eco damage is mirrored and exceeded here. And dive continues anew. Ranged armor still activated. Sipahi so slow to die. Finally, he realizes a Core gets the snipe on the meta. Archer mass depleted down to 15 here. And I think he's going to lose the entire army. After which, we are talking about a prolonged age where the Ottomans have been yielding Vizier points. They have extra perks working. They've got passive production. They've got the favorable unit matchup still. And you're now eco behind. Oh my god, the focus fire of the Spy as well. Like, would have been more value potentially to kill the archers, but he just doesn't care. He wants every little bit he can get. Keshik's now getting queued up by Core. This is meant to be his recovery arc. He's way back in. He's saving grace now that there's no spears. But he's doing so from behind. We can see military school count at 2. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a third one getting slotted in very soon here. Last of the raiding archers are at least going to get mopped up, but you are reading that correctly. 9 villages ahead now. Feels like more than that when you consider the passive production involved here. Good timing now for Voldemar to move out, wall up, and rebulk. Because now Core has to do something drastic, right? Like, he is just behind. So if you just kind of waylay this, play your atypical game, where you're like, I'm just going to mass military, and I'm going to take the big fight directly with you. That only works if your opponent is directly countered on the comp. And At this stage, that's a big ask. I think Voldemar has a good enough economy that he could kind of just spend about 70% of it on archers and the rest on Sipahi, and he would be uncontestable directly. So Kor's probably going to need to find a way of sneaking in with Keshiks, but he needs to be quick about it before those walls go up. And that never feels good, because it means, like, if you choose to not do that, you're going to be the defending player. And I have a kind of rule with Mongols. If the Mongol player is defending, he's lost the game, right? Like, Mongols are not a defensive civ. The one exception is if they're in Imperial Age with mass cannon replacements, right? But this point in the game, if you have to defend, you don't have the desirable walls that all these other civs do. Shut up. I do think Voldemar needs to hold his horses a little bit. Literally and figuratively. He doesn't have the meta yet, which is a big deal breaker. Big no-no. Extra Vizier points are coming through, and I wonder if that's going to be the military school. I'd love to show you directly, and maybe by the year 2026 I'll be able to. Via a little button that I can click and show the Vizier points. But for now, I'm just going to be a little bit facetious about it and mold the fact we don't have it. There we go. Military school now coming in. We don't have pastures either, right? Nope, not a single pasture. Which I think makes sense. If Kor was building pastures from this position, he'd be losing even more. But what that means and why that's important is it means he doesn't have safe economy. So the Sipahi raids sneaking out, similar to the concept the Keshiks we talked about, that's going to be the story to watch here. I give you 3,000 resources. Would you rather spend it on Keshiks or Sipahi? Be honest. Because I feel like I'd rather have Sipahi. Good lord. Strike straight in. 3 dead. Might be 4. The Yam wasn't in range. The Deerstone too far forward. Even more running out to death. And all of a sudden, we are now talking about what feels like a mountain to climb here. 14 villager lead for the Ottomans. You choose Keshiks. Interesting. I'm not, like, and keep in mind, I'm not talking about extra elements around. I'm not giving you a meta. You're not having your Yam aura. It's just Keshiks or Sipahi. I think Sipahi are more desirably equipped there. For a start, when you clash 3,000 resources worth those 2 units, all these guys will be attacking straight away. You can also kite them. And then when you go to do things like killing villages, it's more easy, right? You have better mobility. Also, because you're statistically having more units, more entities than Keshiks, there's less likelihood that you can just get countered by a group of spears. Right? Because you can split off into more groups, there's more entities, so you need more spears to brace. Like, Sipahi just feel great, man. Like, when you're able to scale like this, it's scary because if you lose them and they can die quickly, it feels GG. But the amount of versatility they give you is phenomenal. Attack speed arrow gets activated, but the Sipahi are already in. They have their own attack speed if need be. Keshiks have to engage. There's no walking away from this in one piece. Voldemar, while pushing like this, is starting to scale his eco towards a castle age if he wants it. It's giving a reinvestment instead. Keshiks are trying to hold on at the tail end of this fight, but the spearmen aren't getting focused down. There's still 3 or 4 in the mix. Keshik count has been reduced down to 2. And I think Kor's matters of moments away from admitting defeat here. Meta is going to be target down. He doesn't even finish it. Please, no. Oh my god. He didn't even touch it the last time there. 8 health left on the meta. And now a dominant military lead. The world is oyster. A match point on the horizon. Voldemar now leads the series.